talk now. This MMA, what we talking about? Yeah, you tuned into the pod now. Gonna be hard for you to stop now. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in.
Welcome back to another episode of Caged In. I'm your host, Chris DiCarlo. Got a very special guest making his debut on the show. It's Brody McDougal. How are we doing today, my man?
Very good, man. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on. It's been a long time coming. You know, I've seen you around the local scene a bunch. So I feel like it was eventually this episode was going to happen at some point in time. So I'm glad it's now.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. No, it's a pleasure to be on here. You run a great show.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Let's just get right into your background, man. Since this is your first time on the show, we don't know too much about you over here for the Caged In audience. So just tell us, like, where you were born and raised, what growing up was kind of like for you.
Yeah, man. So born and raised in New Hampshire, always been a New England guy. Really haven't traveled much. Went to college in Massachusetts. Grew up playing hockey, played some college hockey. That's really it, man. Just a New Hampshire guy, born and raised.
There you go, man. You mentioned hockey. Is that the only sport you played growing up, or did you dabble in any other athletics?
I dabbled in some other stuff, man. Like I played football when I was younger, played lacrosse in high school for a little bit, and even ran a little bit of cross country. But yeah, no, hockey was definitely the main sport for me always growing up.
There you go. And how'd you end up getting into MMA? What's the story about, the first time you got in the gym? What kind of led you there?
Yeah, so I mean, originally just being a fan of the sport, of course. Loved like the original season, The Ultimate Fighter. I remember my older brother and one of his best friends actually, they were really into the original season, The Ultimate Fighter. So just being the little brother, kind of like, trying to stick around them, I ended up watching a lot of episodes of that. And that's kind of what my introduction to the UFC was. Then you obviously have, Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner capping that season off. At that time, I was also like a big fan, like Chuck Liddell and Tito. They had that rivalry going on.
Right.
So it was just really into the sport at a young age. Me and my brothers would kind of have our own little fake UFC fights, if you will, in the house, just like throwing body shots or whatever, just roughhousing around. And then how I actually came to walk into Nostos originally was so COVID really hit hard my senior year of college. My junior year of college. So prepping for my senior year of college hockey season, the regular gym that I would train at to prepare for that was closed. I didn't have access to that. And Nostos was actually the only gym that was still open in my area. I was obviously a fan of MMA and was interested in, MMA training itself, but was more focused and more geared towards my upcoming hockey season. So I originally reached out to Devin and just said, hey, I'm a college kid. I'm just looking to train for my upcoming hockey season. Could I still come in and train with you guys? And he was like, of course, man. I think this would be a great crossover training for you. Obviously get me in great cardiovascular shape. And then after maybe a week of training at Nostos, man, I knew this was what I wanted to do the rest of my life. It just spoke to me. I just loved it.
Yeah, man, I'm sure you got that itch once you started, rolling on the mats and hitting pads and everything. That itch just probably kind of came natural to you. And, now the rest is history and you're getting into the MMA game. You mentioned that you are a fan of, the UFC and MMA and whatnot. Do you have any favorite fighters that you like to follow?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm a really, really big fan of the sport. I'm a huge fan of a lot of, honestly, the smaller guys. I really have an appreciation for their kind of movement. And I think a little bit more technique comes out. Like Corey Sandhagen's one. I really, really love the way he moves. Sugar Sean O'Malley. He moves really, really well. I like his striking style a lot. Some of the bigger guys, obviously, like Adesanya, has that similar style. And I mean, Conor McGregor, I was always a big Conor fan. And again, I really like that striking style. And I think kind of my style sort of, mimics a lot of those fighters.
Right. That kind of bouncy, stand up, unorthodox style that's kind of really hard to predict and catch a rhythm against for your opponent. So yeah, that does make sense now that you mentioned the guys that you kind of look up to, and now seeing your style, you can kind of blend them both together and kind of figure out where that kind of comes from. So that's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Sorry for moving around here too. I just had my dog just break in on me and start squeaking a toy. So I want to make sure I grab that out of there.
No, you're good, man. Dogs are welcome on the show anytime. We don't have no rules against dogs over here.
We'll see. We can get her on here. Maze, you want to say hi to the camera?
What
Maze,
up?
say hi to the Cage Thing community.
Hell yeah. Beautiful dog, man. Beautiful dog.
Thank you.
I would get mine, but he's upstairs, and running rampant, doing God knows what up there. So I don't feel like upsetting him today. He can be a dickhead sometimes.
Of course.
Let's get into your nickname a little bit, man. You go by the American Psycho. What's the history behind the nickname? How'd you get it?
Yeah, history behind the nickname. I was actually cutting weight before one of my fights, and I just released some new fight shirts that it was. I don't know if you've seen. I have a couple of pictures, honestly, of me just kind of like screaming into the camera.
Yeah,
And the
of course.
fight shirt was that picture with kind of like like some fake blood splatter behind it or something. Something pretty violent. And one of my teammates, Devin Richard, actually just said to me like, you look like Christian Bale for American Psycho there. So that was kind of how it like first kind of went into my head. And then it was at the backstage 4 weigh-ins at Cage Titans, when you have to write down all your information and stuff. And Andy was, kind of messing with me and just saying like, do you have a nickname yet? We have to get you a nickname.
Right.
And I was just like, I don't have a nickname, but like, this kid did say this to me at the gym the other day, and it's kind of cool. And, again, I'm a big Stephen Bonner fan. And he was like, man, like I couldn't think of a more fitting nickname for you. So Andy kind of was the one that gave me the confidence to write it down on the paper, and now I'm the American Psycho.
There you go, man. The rest is history. I feel like Andy has his hand in a lot of nicknames that happen from the Cage Tide scene. I feel like the more I talk to people, the more I get their nickname stories. Andy's name keeps popping up. I feel like he's just that guy out there giving people nicknames.
Yeah, Andy loves it, man, for sure.
I'm sure he does. Let's get into your gym a little bit, man. You talked about, how you stepped into Nostos, but for the people that maybe aren't as aware or know about the gym, can you just kind of explain the vibe of the gym and just give people a little bit of insight on what you guys are all about over there at Nostos?
Yeah. First things first is just kind of like family. There's definitely more like a family atmosphere, which I think is kind of surprising to a lot of people. I think a lot of people are pretty taken aback when they first walk into Nostos and see, how many just like kids are running around, and there's the animals out front, and it's a really friendly atmosphere in there, and then it's really cool too. It's just unique. We got the graffiti all over the walls. It's bright, it's colorful, it's fun. It's a really fun atmosphere in there, and I think that contributes a lot to our training. Like MMA in general is a grind, so to have that atmosphere and that kind of like every time you're in there, it's like you're going to visit your family again. It helps, keep things light.
For sure. I've seen like you guys even had some concerts held inside the facility and stuff too, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, man. I9, dude, Mike, he's trained at the gym a little bit actually too. He's a good buddy of Devin. So yeah, that's really cool whenever he does something at the gym.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, man. You guys definitely have an interesting vibe up there, something that's very different than most gyms in the area. I think that's what keeps you guys unique. And, you guys are, taking the local scene by storm, man. A lot of you guys are having great success in the area, and, nothing but continued success to you and the team, man. It's always a pleasure watching you guys perform. It's always a blast, man.
Thank you, man. No, we really appreciate it.
Of course. How important has Devin Powell and that coaching staff at Nostos been to just the improvement of your game from day one to now?
I mean, dude, they're all of it. Like
Yeah,
literally, I had nothing. I had zero anything when I first walked into Nostos. Again, man, I was a hockey kid. I didn't know anything. I knew basically how to throw a hard right hand. That was it. So every technical aspect of my game has been developed by Devin, Nick Miles, Kyle Hill, the coaching staff over there. Can't speak high enough about all those guys. They're incredible. They're really intelligent people, and they do such a great job there too of breaking things down and making things simple and digestible, especially early on. So you're able to really dial in your technique, and then they kind of add things on, building block off of that. But no, it's a really, really impressive program they've put together.
For sure, man. Like I said, tons of great talent coming out of there. That's, got to give all the props in the world to Devin and those guys over at Nostos, developing you guys very like talented fighters. All you guys, like I said earlier, man, you guys just come out there and put on a show, and not just to go out there and like, and throw and bang. You guys are doing technical stuff in there for a good gym out of New Hampshire, bro. So Nothing but continued success again, man. Like I said, it's always a pleasure to watch you guys throw down. So let's get into, the fight career a little bit, man. You are 3-0 as an amateur. Looking at your career thus far, man, where have you seen the most growth in your game from fight 1 to now going into fight 4?
I mean, definitely my ground game. I think striking and the stand-up game was something that I gravitated to a little more naturally. I've really put a lot of emphasis and focus into training my jiu-jitsu and my wrestling. It's really, really shown. I have 2 submissions over purple belts, in less than 3 years of training. If you look at me on paper, I look like a submission guy. I got 2 subs and, 1 knockout.
All right.
So yeah, just, dialing in my ground game and just trying to be dangerous everywhere. I think that really showed, especially in, my last title fight, finishing a really high level purple belt from, Boston Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I think he was a gold medalist in IBJJF at one point. So, I mean, getting him out of there with a first round submission, I think spoke a lot.
There you go, man. Anything about your career thus far that has surprised you at all?
Kind of just how quickly it moved, when I first got into this, I kind of had preconceived notion that it would take me a lot longer to be able to achieve what I have, and to get the opportunities that I have. But again, it's just, we put our head down and we work, and Devin sets up a really, really solid plans for all of us. We game plan really well. And it shows,
You've mentioned it, man. Your 3 fights, you have 3 finishes. There he is. Your 3 fights, man. You have 3 finishes, man. How confident are you every time you step into that cage that you have the ability to finish anybody in any matchup at any time?
Extremely. Extremely. I don't think I really could be more confident. I think you have to be that way, right? Getting in there. Of course, every single time I sign my name on that piece of paper, you can be assured that I believe in my full heart that I'm going to win that fight. And even, now I believe I can win it anywhere, standing on the ground, wherever you want to take it. Again, I mean, I have the measuring stick to go against every single day in the training room. Kyle Hill, he's the #1 welterweight in New England. I'm #2. So yeah, I mean, we're getting it done, man.
For sure, for sure. Definitely a stacked gym you got over there. Sharpen iron, man. You guys are all killing it. So, if you could describe yourself as a fighter in 3 adjectives, 3 words, how would you describe yourself?
Technical, violent, and artistic.
Perfect. Love that. Let's talk about what's next for you, bro. I know you don't have anything on the docket as of yet. But you were scheduled to fight at Cage Titans last event, Cage Titans 58 versus Daniel Keepers. That fight ended up falling through. What kind of happened with that situation over there at CT 58?
Yeah, so I actually ended up fracturing my wrist in training, just threw a punch and ended up getting what's called a buckle fracture. Sorry, she parked over it. A buckle fracture.
I got you.
It's just basically your wrist folds down, just as a small hairline fracture. So I had to, obviously push through that the last 6 weeks or so. And then, now we're finally fully recovered and ready to get back at it. But that was it, just that small fracture pulled us out of that fight.
For sure. Unfortunate, but hopefully you're healed up now and ready to go for whatever's next.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's been a little bit of grumbling still about potentially getting me a matchup for the May 27th Cage Titans card. Mike said he's been working a few leads. It's been a little bit of tough lately to find me matchups, in full honesty. But I'm still hopeful that, we'll find somebody and we'll be able to get it done May 27th. But if not, they know where to get a hold of us.
Exactly. In your perfect world, man, like, when do you want to fight next? What month? What promotion? I know you kind of dabbled in a couple different promotions, all around the New England area. So, like, if you had it your way, when would you be fighting next?
Yeah, I mean, my way, perfect world, obviously, is May 27th. I collect my Cage Titans belt. We kind of been joking around lately at the gym, especially we got a couple of double champs in the gym already. So we say, only thing better than 1 belt is 2. And then only thing better than 2 will be 3.
Right.
So yeah, we'll definitely keep trying to do a little bit of belt thing. Yeah.
Looking at the guys in the area, man, the welterweights that you can potentially step in there and fight against. Do you have a specific opponent in mind or someone in mind that you would like to get in there on May 27th against? for the welterweight strap at Cage
Um,
Titans?
No one really in particular, man. I mean, I kind of already shot my shot for one or two guys that haven't worked out. Yeah, I mean, no one really. We've already tried for kind of guys that we wanted, and it hasn't worked out. So at this point, it's really just waiting and seeing if Mike can find someone for us.
For sure. I saw on your social media who's the guy that you called out in your last call out? I seen on somebody on your social media.
Yeah, it's shoot, what's his name? Nate White. Sorry,
Nate White. That's right.
Nate White. Yeah.
That's the one. That one's not looking good.
No, he didn't have anything really to say in response, which is fine. You know what I mean? That's all I needed. So he just kind of made it pretty obvious that that wasn't something that he was interested in. And again, that's fine.
For sure. The guy you were supposed to fight, Daniel Keepers, the guy that actually went in there and fought. In replacement for you was Ozzy Martin, another guy in the cage mind scene, who's been making a splash as of late. Is he someone that might also be on your radar as well for that title fight? So considering he has made a little bit of a splash and is making some noise over there, because I feel like that could be a big matchup.
Absolutely. That was one that we kind of already tried to make happen. It was something that at least Ozzy said he didn't want to do May 27th, which, again, is all right. But yeah, I mean, as for Ozzy himself, like we spoke after the Cage Titans fight, he was a respectful kid to me. Some guys, have their thoughts about him now after his celebration or whatever, but honestly, like I'm cool with it. I get it. And, after I listened to his interview with him, he, had positive things to say about me. So yeah, no, he's a respectful kid, and if he wants to do it, we can do it. And if he doesn't, then we don't have to.
Yep. I can't wait for whatever is next for you, bro. I know if it's at Cage Titans, I'll be there cage side, watching you throw down. So hopefully something materializes for the 27th, because I think I'd speak for me and the rest of the Cage Titans fans that I think we're ready to see you back in that cage for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I can't wait to get back in there for you guys too.
For sure, man. All right, before I get you out of here, I know you got to get to training. I got a few just random fun questions, just to squeeze in here, and then we'll get you on your way, man.
Absolutely.
All right. Outside of fighting and outside of the gym, what would you say like your biggest hobbies and interests are?
Biggest hobby and interest, honestly, is just like I really just listen to a lot of podcasts. I like watching a lot of documentaries. I like watching like nature docs, Planet Earth, stuff like that. Pretty calm and relaxed, honestly, outside the gym, despite being the American Psycho. Yeah, just pretty low key.
There you go, man. There you go. If you could see one musician perform live, anybody, dead, alive, doesn't matter, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a really, really good one. Honestly, I'm just gonna shout him out because he's a New England guy, and I haven't gotten to see him perform yet, and I really, really want to. Is Joyner Lucas? I really want to go see Joyner real bad.
Yeah, that'd be a good one too. He is a local guy too, so that's dope. Always good to have guys like that high on your list to see. I'm sure he'll be around at some point. I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm sure the summertime is when all the concerts start popping up and guys start announcing tours and whatnot. So hopefully he'll make his way back around here too, because that's one that I want to go see as well. So.
Yeah.
Do you have a biggest fear? Could be something deep, could be something small. I mean, do you have any big fears?
Yeah, I would say my biggest fear, and this might be a kind of a silly one, but would be like just getting dropped into like the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
That's just like terrifying for me, man. Again, I watch a lot of nature docs. The ocean is like monster soup. You're just bobbing there waiting to get nailed by something. So that would be my biggest fear. That and just being in water takes you completely out of your element. Like at least if you're on land, you feel like you have somewhat of a chance, even though you probably don't. In water, you're just helpless. So
yeah, you have zero control in the ocean, dude. It's a scary place to be, that's for sure.
Yeah, that and you got a timer set, right? Because you're only gonna be able to tread water for so long as well.
Exactly. It's what, that's just making my anxiety go just thinking about it, bro. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite movies, favorite TV shows, anything like that? I know you said you're a big documentary guy, but do you have any like series that you watch, whatnot?
Yeah, that's a good one. Favorite TV series? I mean, I loved Game of Thrones.
Of course.
Obviously. Favorite movie? I love Django Unchained. Django Unchained is a great one.
Big Tarantino guy. You like all those?
Yeah,
flicks?
Huge Tarantino guy. Yeah.
Nice.
Wasn't as big on Pulp Fiction though. Got to be 100% honest. I know that's gonna break.
Might be a little controversial. I don't know. Might be a little controversial.
I know. It's good, but I don't know. I didn't think it was his best.
I hear you. I hear you. All right, Brody. Well, I appreciate the time, man. Thanks for, coming on the show, talking to me. Like I said, it was a long time coming. Glad to finally get you on. And, hopefully whenever you get some fight news, you're always welcome back. We'll come on, break down the matchup and talk about what's next for you, man. So I appreciate the time, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you too, man.
That's it. Before I get you out of here, man, last thing, do you want to shout anything out? Any sponsors, anybody you want to shout out, any social medias you want to plug, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely give a shout out to some of my sponsors, Phillips Electric, Elevate Design, Amy Lee's Therapeutic Massage, Premium Firewood Services, Hagen's Motor Pool, Hall Bros, Bill, always taking care of all the guys too. I might be forgetting a couple more, but they all know that I love them. Obviously, all the people at the gym, Devin, Carolyn, they do so much for us. All my main training partners, we can't do it without each other. So, I appreciate all those people that help me, try to live out this dream.
There you go, man. That's awesome. I love to hear that. All right, Brody, thanks for taking the time again, man. Hopefully we'll be seeing you on May 27th and watch you put some work in.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you.
All right, yes, sir. Have a good one, man.
You too. Bye.
Got down for the count and he can't even talk now. This MMA, what we talking about? Yeah, you tuned into the pod now. Gonna be hard for you to stop now. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in.